All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachach Quadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of Great Millstone who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations unto the Akim out here pushing his gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon all your houses. This is Brother Quanah Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. And, as you see right here on this video, this is on the World Star Hip Hop. It says, married Alabama coach, 38, is killed while clapping 21-year-old cheeks. Boyfriend caught his girl with the coach in his bed. And as I'm gonna play about 2 minutes of this video, man. As you're gonna find out, man, that boyfriend ultimately ended up killing, right, that coach, man. Which the coach, right, as it says, he was a married man, right? So he had a wife, right, but was ultimately sleeping with another man's woman, another man's wife, right? Because the boyfriend girlfriend thing, that shit's fairly new, man. That's a Western, a Western title. Those things never, existed. As a man has a wife, right? A woman is supposed to be a wife, right? So basically, right, technically he was sleeping with another man's wife, man, right? Which is committing adultery, right? And as we're going to get in the scriptures, man, adultery is a death sentence, man, right? Adultery is a death sentence, right? And this adultery runs rampant within the, Israelite communities, man, which is why you see, right, a lot of men, right, being put to death, because they, ultimately fucking with another man's wife, man, but I'm gonna play this video. This is, fair use, section 107 of the copyright disclaimer. Again, this is for educational purposes. This is not for monetary gain. This is on a public domain, right? A public, website, right, where we can go watch videos and whatnot. And again, this is just for, educational purposes. I'll put the disclaimer, but nonetheless.
I don't give a what the fuck y'all talking about? Fuck y'all talking about?
He ain't gonna get no charges, dog.
No, it ain't even like that.
He ain't gonna get no charges.
Charges been dropped. I don't know. I'm not gonna even show that boy much. So I can get with praying for his family. Cause it's a tough situation. Y'all been talking about my cousin so fucking bad.
Everybody.
Y'all been talking about my cousin so motherfucking. Charges dropped. Ain't no justified shit. And I'm looking how I'm looking. 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 Are we on that? Charges dropped. Yeah.
Which this right here, man, just to throw a comment out there, man. This is why you shouldn't be fucking with no damn black ass fucking female, man. You look at this shit, man. Scriptures talk about she is loud and clamorous and knoweth nothing, man. Roughly paraphrasing, man. This is why you shouldn't be fucking with these black ass hyenas, man. But nonetheless, man, I just wanted to make that comment.
Talking about y'all been talking all that about my son. My cousin's a good nigga. He made a bad decision. Man, with them folks. And I'm still praying for his family. I'm still praying for his family.
He ain't gonna do no time.
I'm still praying for his family. And I hope his family praying for mine too. But we both took a loss.
Fine. What you do if you walk into your home and you found someone else in the bed with your partner? Would you gonna walk away or would you snap? In Alabama, that question just turned deadly. And the person who lost their life was a beloved football coach. We got another story coming out of Alabama. And I need y'all to tap in because this one gonna bring some strong opinion.
And, I'm not going to interject too much, man. But he's talking about a beloved football coach. The nigga was committing adultery, man. Right? The nigga was committing adultery. He was sleeping with another man's woman, man. And got gunned down, man. Matter of fact, let me grab this, man. We're gonna watch the rest of this video. Right? It says right here, Proverbs 6:34. It says, "For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore, he will not spare in the day of vengeance," man. And this is what happened, right? He walked in, right, young man, right, walked in, right, to his woman, right, basically, you know, which the woman it needs to be put to death too, man, right, according to the law, which we're going to get, right? The woman was supposed to be put to death too, you know, but obviously, you know, in this world, you know, that scripture say that wrong judgment proceedeth, man, you know, both of them, right, the male and the female were supposed to be put to death, man, you know, but nonetheless, right, a man, you know, ultimately showing up, and his woman is ultimately getting, you know, you know, getting ran through by another man. Hey, well, guess what? That right there will piss you off, man. You know, and it will have you snap. Like, that's your woman, man. You know, and this is what happened. You know, it said he will not spare in the day of vengeance, man. He didn't spare this man. You know, which is, you know, ultimately a righteous judgment, man, putting this man to death. You know, but let's go back to it, man.
Fam, a lot of people calling the story we about to discuss a crime of passion, while others say it's clear-cut murder, and a man need to face the full consequences. But we're talking about a beloved football coach in his late 30s, well-respected in the community, which we're later pay our respects to, while another man was just getting off work trying to provide for his household. He was gunned down after being caught inside his house. But here's the twist. The woman at the center of all this, she just 23 years old. I say that out the gate. And this wasn't just some random encounter. She was in a relationship. At least she thought so. Except the man who was gunned down was married. On top of that, what's being said is the victim didn't come through the front door. The Ring camera didn't catch him. People believe he entered through the balcony, which folks are calling red flag number 1. But after that incident, the young woman had seemingly spoke up indirectly in what she considered to her close friends. But it was shocking. She didn't speak up for her boyfriend, the guy home she was in. She spoke up for the married man who was gunned down. Assuming she didn't expect that her close friends would screenshot her post and blast it all over social media. Well, that's the case. And that came after she deactivated her Facebook. Now, fam, you would think this answer clear cut. But as we go over this, I want y'all to ask yourself, who really in the wrong here? The married coach for being there? Or the boyfriend who was taking the law into his own hands? Or is this one of those situations where everybody crossed the line and tragedy was the only possible income? Because, yeah.
You know, which, hey, you know, the boyfriend, right, the one that ultimately, you know, put old buddy to death, man, you know, he wasn't necessarily in the wrong, man, you know. Let's grab this, man. And right, in the law, right, Exodus 20 and 14, it says thou shalt not commit adultery, right? That's one of the commandments, man, you know. And we're not supposed to be committing adultery, right? Adultery, right, is, you know, when a man ultimately sleeps with another man's wife, or a woman sleeps with more than one man in her entire life, you know. But this right here, Leviticus 20 and verse 10, it says, and the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, right, meaning he slept with this woman, right, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer, which is the man, and the adulteress, which is the woman, shall be put to death, right? It says, and the man that lieth with his father's wife, which, you know, again, right, committing adultery, you know, another man's wife, right, hath uncovered his father's nakedness, both of them shall be put to death, their blood shall be upon them, right? So ultimately, again, the point being what? You sleeping with another man's wife is a death sentence for not only you, but even that woman, because again, you heard, right, in this video that this woman had a man and yet still went to go sleep with another man. That's committing adultery as well. And as we're reading, again, both of them should be put to death. So the dude that, the boyfriend, right, that ultimately killed, you know, the coach, right, it's not wrong. You know, the only thing he did wrong is not killing that damn female too, you know. And that's according to the law. Again, in this world, right, he would be, you know, in trouble. He would be wrong, right, for, you know, for killing, right, old buddy. But hey, according to the law, he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong for any of that, man. You know, adultery is a death sentence, man, and it's a very serious topic, right? It's a very serious topic, man. You know, even Yahweh Shai touched on it, man. Let's go back to that. I think it's in Matthew. Yeah, Matthew's. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 27. It says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after hath committed adultery with her already in his heart, right, in his mind, right? And we're talking about these married women out here, man, right? You looking on a woman, right? And you desire, you meditating on, laying with this woman, right? Whatnot, right? And she got a ring on, and you know that, and you commit adultery already, man, in your mind, which there's they have a saying, man, whatever you think is whatever you're going to say, whatever you say is whatever you're going to do. So ultimately, your thoughts ultimately translate right into actions, So technically, right, you over here looking at a woman, lusting after a woman that's married, and you're committing adultery already, man. The scriptures say that even the thought of foolishness is sin, right? So you're already committing a sin, man, which is heavy, man. This is why you gotta, rebuke thoughts, you gotta constantly be on your toes, man, right? In this truth, in this ministry, man. Adultery is a death sentence by default. It is a death sentence, man, and this is what happened to that man, right? Yeah, and that was the point, man. Adultery is a death sentence, man. Again, and that's by default a death sentence, man, right? Again, as we read in Exodus, the 20th chapter, let's go back to it. It's part of the commandments, man. Right. Right, it says right here, Exodus 20 and verse 1, it says, and the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, right, which is the first commandment, right? It says, thou shalt make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Right, so again, right, just setting the the tone that these are the commandments that we're supposed to live by. These are the commandments that we're supposed to be, operating under. This is how we're supposed. The scriptures is how we're supposed to walk in our lives. Dropping down, it says, "Thou shalt not kill," right, which is talking about murder, right? You just blatantly killing somebody. This man did not commit murder, man. Right, the boyfriend did not commit murder, right? He was following the scriptures, man, right? We read it in Leviticus, right? That if a man is caught sleeping with another man's wife, both he and that woman are supposed to be put to death. That's not committing murder, That's not committing murder, man. That's operating according to the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. But it says what? Thou shalt not commit adultery. And that's what he did. And he got put to death for it, man. That's judgment from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? And you're going to start seeing a lot of this judgment, for doing, wicked deeds, right? Committing adultery, stealing, whatnot. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai going to start raising that judgment up, man, upon you niggas, man. You wicked ass niggas, man. And y'all going to be put to death, man, for that shit. And really a good riddance, man. Wicked ass niggas, man, doing some shit like that. You wouldn't want, you would sit here and do this shit to a whole nother man's wife, but then when it happens to you, you want to get upset. You want to get upset, like it shouldn't have happened to you. What if that coach went home? What if he was still alive? He went home and somebody else was, messing with his woman. He would snap. He would snap. Ass backwards ass niggas, man. But I just want to bring that out, man. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, according to the law, according to his words, right, adultery is a death sentence, man. So this man was put to death righteously because he wanted to commit adultery, man. And the man that ultimately put him to death, right, is not wrong, right? The only thing that he did wrong was not kill that damn woman too, man. But Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai gonna get her ass. He gonna get all you fucking adulterous ass women and you adulterers, man. You adulterous ass men, But that's all I wanted to grab, man. Just want to kind of throw that in the air, man. Adultery is a death sentence, man. So So with that, Lord wills, I define Lord will straight to the point. I want to give all praise, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak, Wadash, double honor to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the great millstone. Till next time I say shalom.